Is 2023 going to be one of the worst times to buy a home here in San Diego, or is it going to be one of the best? There is so many videos and articles out there right now talking about how we're going to see one of the biggest real estate crashes since 2008. But I want to remind you guys that real estate is all local, and San Diego real estate is actually really influenced by about 3 different things that I'm going to share with you guys in this video. So let's get after it now. Welcome back. If this is your first time here and you'd like to know more about San Diego real estate or life here in San Diego, make sure you tap that subscribe button below. My name is Nick, and you guys reach out all the time, and I absolutely love helping you guys out. So if you're thinking about making a move in or around San Diego, make sure to shoot us a text, shoot us an email, or just straight up give us a call so we can help you make a smooth move here to San Diego and help give you that peace of mind when you're making that move. Now, as I mentioned, there has been so much news, videos, and articles on this real estate crash that may be or might not be coming. And most of this news that you're seeing is always going to be national statistics and things like that. And I want to remind you that real estate's always going to be a local thing. It even comes down to some of the neighborhoods in some of these cities. So if you look at some of these other markets like Austin, Texas, Sarasota, Florida, Boise, Idaho, they're seeing some of the biggest drops in buyer demand ever, nearly 50%. So that is huge, and that's really gonna have a big effect on their house prices. San Diego is not really seeing anything like that, and I wanna remind you guys that it's nearly impossible to time the market. So it's really always gonna come down to when is the time right for you to buy? When are your finances looking right? What's your family doing? That's really what it comes down to, but there is 3 things that I want to share with you guys that you can really look at to get a better understanding of where our market could be going. So let's go ahead and dive into the first one. The first thing that really influences our market here in San Diego is going to be interest rates. And especially over the last couple years, it has been the perfect recipe for sellers. Low interest rates and low inventory has caused straight up madness when it came to the real estate market, especially here in San Diego. I mean, some of these buyers were paying anywhere from $40,000 to $50,000 to $100,000 to even $300,000 over the asking price to get that house. And even a lot of buyers were waiving all their contingencies, which I would never recommend unless you're a very savvy investor and you're buying a distressed property. You just don't see it happening, but it was happening all day here in San Diego. And it was, in my eyes, it was just very unsustainable, but it was really driven by low interest rates and low inventory. There just wasn't enough options for buyers, so buyers had to do what they had to do to get that house. Now, times have definitely changed. I mean, rates are in the, well, when I do this video, in the low 6%, but they were about 7% just a few months ago, which I want to pull this up for you guys right here. I have the 30-year fixed mortgage rates pulled up, and I have a nice chart just kind of showing, but even as I do this video today, beginning in January, they're at about 6.2%, which is a really good number to see. And I just hope they'll start to kind of stay in one place so people can get used to it and prices can kind of acclimate to that. And I'll show you why right here, because the beginning of the year, back in, let's go to January, rates were about 3, they were in the 3s, the very low 3s to the high 3s. And even now, they're up double at the end, or I should say a year from last year, about 6%. That's going to do a lot to affordability. But let me take it back to about pre-pandemic levels at about 2000. Let's start at about 2017 because rates were in a very good place. It was a very sustainable market. Now, rates were at the 3s, anywhere from the 3 to 5% in about a 2 to 3 year span. So you can see here, I'm in 2017, 3 to 4%. And then as I move to 2018, it's in the mid 4s now. 2019, remember, this is when COVID hit and that pandemic really started. It was right in the beginning of 2019. I think it was right around March, if I remember right. And that's when rates really took a big dip. So they went from 4s, which they stayed at, remember, for about 3 years, 2 to 3 years, and they went down to 3%, boom, 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 2019, and they went all the way down to the mid 2s for a while there. So that was causing that crazy feeding frenzy for a while there. So I want to show you this too, because affordability has always been an issue here in San Diego. But let's say your rate was at 3.5%, you were putting down 20%, and the price of the home was $750,000. Well, your monthly payment would be about $3,200 a month. So that was That was about a year ago. That same mortgage, that same house, or I shouldn't say the same mortgage, but that same house for $750K at, let's say, 6.2%, you're looking at about an extra $1,000 a month just for that rate. So that's going to have a huge impact on prices here, especially in San Diego. So make sure you watch these interest rates. But let's go ahead and move on to the next one. And let me know down below what you think rates are going to do this year. Are they going to go down to 4%? Are they going to stay in the 6s? Are they going to go up to 10%? Let me know, because I'm pretty curious on what you think. Now, the next thing that I want to share with you guys, and that really has a huge influence on our real estate market here in San Diego, is going to be our local job market. Now, this one is huge, and it plays a huge role on what prices are going to do in the next year, in the next couple months, for real estate, because obviously if unemployment is high, then people certainly aren't going to be buying things, and they're not going to be buying a home. But also, what does the job growth look like? What does the employment look like? All these things have a big determining factor on what's going to play out in the real estate market. Now, I have a couple articles pulled up and a couple charts just to show you guys very briefly on what's going on currently here in San Diego. Now, you can see that the unemployment rate right now is at about 3.2%. which is very, very, very good. And you can see that San Diego unemployment rate is 3.2% compared to 3% last month and 4.3% last year. But the real kick is this is lower than the long-term average of almost 6%, 5.76%. So we are looking extremely good, extremely healthy when it comes to employment here. And you can see even back in January of 2021, unemployment was at about 8.5%, which is huge, but this was during the pandemic. A lot of employers, a lot of companies didn't know what was going on, so they let people go, only to rehire them and actually hire on more people. So pretty interesting what has happened there, but I also wanted to share this article with you guys. Non-farm payrolls rose about 223,000 in December as strong job markets top expectations. So employers added about 223,000 jobs in December. So that tops expectations, which is awesome to see. And another thing that I want to share with you guys that's pretty important is going to be this right here. Wage growth was less than expected, and an indication that inflation pressure could be weakening. So that's awesome. Wages aren't skyrocketing like they have been over the last couple years, and that means inflation is going down. That's what the Fed is looking at. So that's all great news right there. Now, the final thing I want to share with you guys is job growth here in San Diego, because it's happening here in San Diego, and it's definitely happening. It's stuff you really need to pay attention to. So even right here, CBRE, this is a huge commercial real estate company, and they track all this data, which I love. So San Diego's tech job growth puts city's office market among the hottest of North America's 30 leading tech hub. That is huge. And what they actually do is they look at the rent growth in all of these markets, and we were number 4. And you can see right here that we were number 4. Sorrento Mesa in San Diego saw about 14% increase in rent growth over the last 2 years. So that's huge, and that means a lot of tech companies are coming here. You had Apple buy up about $500 million worth of commercial over there in Rancho Bernardo. You have Viasat, which is a communication company over in Carlsbad. You have Qualcomm. You have so many jobs here, not to mention you have a ton of healthcare and hospitals. So that's huge. You have a couple military bases here. So San Diego is very good with their job growth, and it's almost a little recession-proof when you look at some of our jobs here. So that's great stuff to look at. So let's go ahead and jump into the third and final thing you guys should know about. And now for the third and final biggest influence on our real estate market here in San Diego, it's going to be our housing supply. This has the biggest impact on prices, in my opinion. If you think about it, it really comes down to a just simple supply and demand. That's what real estate is really all about, and that's what prices are going to adjust to. If you have low supply and high demand, like we just did over the last 2-3 years with those low interest rates, then prices are going to go up. But if you have high supply and low demand, then prices are going to start to come down. That's just what happens. And I want to show you guys, because month supply of inventory is something you can look at really easily. And they say anywhere from 5 to 6 months of inventory. That's going to be a buyer's market, and that's when you're going to start to see a lot more seller concessions and prices to come down. Now you can see right here in San Diego County that in December 2022, our month supply of inventory was about 1.2 months. So that is very low. And what that means is if we had no more listings to come to market, no more homes for sale, we'd be sold out in a little over a month, which is very mind-boggling to me. So we have very low inventory still. If you start to see that go up to about 5-6 months, that's where, I don't want to say get worried, but that's where prices are going to start to come down a lot quicker and a lot more fast. So keep that in mind. But I also want to share with you, how many homes do we actually have listed right now? How many homes are for sale in San Diego? Well, that number is crazy, crazy low. We only have about 31 homes for sale in all of San Diego County. Now, I want you to think about that because our population here is about 3.3 million people. So we have no homes for sale. That's what's keeping our market very stable, and houses are still selling, within a couple weeks. Now, if you look at other markets like Austin, Texas, they have a population of about 1 million, and they have anywhere from 9,000 to 10,000 homes for sale. So that's where prices are going to start to come down a lot more, which we're already seeing over there. So this is a pretty healthy number to see right here, but you can even go back to about right there in middle of 2019. That's when we had a lot more inventory, about 13,000 homes for sale in July. And as that pandemic hit in January of 2022, inventory just seemed to stay low. Now, I want to show you some of the prices and what that's done over the course of the last 15 years as well, because you need to keep in mind that if you're buying real estate, whether it's your 5th house or it's your first house, you really need to keep it as a long-term investment. When you go to buy real estate, strap in because you're in it for the long haul. If you're going to sell in 2 years or plan to sell in 2 years, probably shouldn't be buying, especially right now. But if you're going to own for 5, 6, 7, 10 years, 15 years, the more you own it, the better you're probably going to do. And you can see that right here, that if you went back and bought at the height right before 2008, that big crash, $500,000 was the median home price here in San Diego. And if you went down about 2 years later, it went down about half to $277,000. But if you held on to that house, even that you bought at the tip top back in 2007, you can see prices have they've gone up, down, but they've gradually gone up the whole time and even peaked at about $855,000. And now they've slowly gone down to about 700. And well, I shouldn't say slowly, but they went down within a year, 2 years to about 750. So not too bad, but like I said, it's a long-term play when you buy something, and it really comes down to some of these neighborhoods that you're purchasing in. So I really hope that you found this video helpful, and it would mean the world to me if you hit that like button. And as always, if you're thinking about making a move in or around San Diego, reach out. Our contact info is down below, and I will see you guys in the next video.